Hello, my name is Sally Pinto, and I'm the Program Director for the Yonkers NORC, Neighborhood Naturally Occurring Retirement Community. We serve seniors 60 plus in Northeast Yonkers. We are under the auspices of WJCS and the Yonkers Office for the Aging. We also have a resource specialist and a nurse on staff. We conduct virtual programming in partnership with the Yonkers Public Library on a daily basis. Enjoy the program.
Around you, so it can be like pillows, blankets, towels. It doesn't have to be like actually yoga props. It can be anything that's like on your couches or on your beds. You can even use like sweatshirts, and we'll just think of the props as like filling space between you and the floor. So the intention of yin yoga is to kind of soften the body into some shapes, but heading to a place where maybe you start to feel a stretch. So that's how it's a little different than restorative yoga. I know that question was asked last week. So they're a little similar in how they go, but also a little different in, I guess, the execution of it. So we're going to start seated today. So you can go ahead and sit yourself up on a pillow or a blanket. And I always say just to settle into the space. So if you need to kind of wiggle around a little bit, if you've been sitting all day, you've been running around all day, whatever you've been doing, just kind of start to check in with the body and just allow yourself to find a comfortable seat. So you can do whatever you want with the legs when we first arrive here. You can keep them crossed, you can extend them long. And then just start to allow your hands to rest on tops of the legs. Just finding a place where everything can kind of settle down. You're welcome to close your eyes or just begin to soften through the gaze. And as you find a place to hold still and you ever feel a sudden urge to move, you don't have to completely ignore that urge. If you need to move or shift, go ahead and do that. But sometimes it can help to just kind of check in and notice if you're moving because you don't like the stillness, or if you're moving because your body just needs to adjust a little bit. So I always invite that moment of pause before you make a change. Start to feel your breath. Feeling the inhales move in and out of your body. Allow the shoulders to release away from the ears. Relaxing through the jaw and the muscles of the face. Take a few more rounds of breath here, just allowing your body and your mind to settle in. Yes, full breath. Just staying in this pause. Let's just start to adjust the legs. So go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together and allow the knees to be wide. So finding butterfly legs. Your feet can be really close to you or they can be a little bit further away. You can kind of play with where they're at. You're always welcome to add a little extra support underneath the shins or the thighs or the knees. Just allow your body to start to find this new butterfly shape and just let your hands find a place to soften. So they might stay somewhere on the legs. And we will eventually go forward, but we're not going to do that yet. So just focus on kind of sitting yourself up a little tall. And just begin to let the chin drop to the chest. So only letting the head drop. You might keep your eyes closed or just softly gaze towards the floor. You feel yourself getting distracted from anything around you or even any sensations in the body. I encourage you to bring yourself and your intention just back to your inhales and exhales. Sometimes the challenge of the hold changes as we hold longer. Sometimes it gets easier, sometimes it gets harder. And then let's just roll your right ear to your right shoulder. Adding a little gentle sensation in the neck. We're not forcing any part of the body to go deeper. We're really just allowing gravity to hold us in the space. And allowing our breath to hold us in the body. And nice and slow, just slowly start to roll your chin across the chest and bringing your left ear to your left shoulder. last couple of breaths here. And then slowly allow the chin to drop back to the center of the chest. Feel the spine slowly start to round. So feel as if you're trying to create just a little bit of space in the back part of the body. Your legs are still butterflies, but only for another beat or two. Then you'll slowly start to lift the knees up, just so you can extend the legs out long. So you're welcome to keep that little round.
So what happens with the van? Do you park it in the garage?
Arching through the back body. And as you extend the legs out, they can be really wide or they can be more narrow. You decide. And you're always welcome to shift those props underneath the knees. And you might gently rock the feet a little bit. Just kind of allow the legs to find this extended shape after that butterfly. And you can keep that rounding through the spine forward. And maybe this time you even start to hinge at the hips a little bit and walk the hands a little forward as if you're trying to fold over the midline of your body. So right in between the legs. And you can keep your chin towards your chest if you're feeling really good there. Or you can always keep the head and neck in more of a neutral position and just keeping that gaze a little forward. Observe when you first arrive the sensations and how they've shifted. Just be curious about that, and you can play with how deep you go. Maybe play with going further, or if it's feeling too much, don't be hesitant to just bring yourself a little back. Sometimes even that 1% shift in either direction can make a massive difference. I'd rather you find a place where you can soften and relax through the mind and the body a little bit more than going a little too far today. for a little while longer here. One more full round of breath wherever you're at. And slowly start to lift yourself all the way up. Gently rock your legs a little bit. And the movement is always up to you. Sometimes it feels good to just stay. And sometimes it feels good to find a little wiggle. Just take a deep breath here when you arrive, sitting up a little bit taller. And start to bend just your left leg. So you're going to keep your right leg straight and almost as if you're bringing that left leg back towards that butterfly-like shape. So that the inside of the foot is right on the inside of the right leg. So again, you can always change how wide or how narrow you are, but we're going to fold over the straight leg. So keep that in mind with how wide or narrow you're going to go. And before we come into that fold, let's just start to rotate your torso. So trying to just bring your gaze towards your toes. You can allow your fingertips to guide you on the ground and maybe even gently hold you there. You don't have to stay attached to where you go. You might even play with taking the rotation a little bit more and see how it feels to bring your leg with you. Just a few more rounds of breath of that play with the rotation. Find your sweet spot today. You are welcome to stay right here. Or you have the option to start to hinge at the hips over the right leg. And you can feel the spine round as you do this, just like we did with that last fold. Your hands can rest on the ground, they can even rest on the leg. Noticing if you're holding on anywhere, either in the hands or the legs with breath. And see if you can let go even just 1% more. Last couple of breaths here. Nice and slow. Just start to bring yourself up if you're leaning forward just a little bit, like 2 inches. Crawl your hands back to the middle so you still kind of have that round forward. And then just go a little bit to the left. So maybe like right in front of the left shin. Just to get a little gentle counter. Just for 2 breaths. It's okay if it feels like you're like hitting a wall as you try to turn into the left side even just a little bit. Gently walk your hands back to the middle and bring yourself all the way up. Invite a deep breath here. Deep inhale and deep exhale. Start to lengthen your left leg out. And bend your right leg. So bringing the sole of the right foot into the left leg. So again, we're going to play a little bit with how wide you're at and forget what just happened on the first side. The sides are going to feel totally different. Sitting yourself nice and tall, and let's actually reach the arms all the way up to the sky here. Just to get a little stretch. And then release the arms down. And slowly start to rotate your torso towards the left leg. Trying to gaze towards the toes. using this opportunity to play with perhaps going a little deeper into the rotation in the leg, a little wider, or just kind of bringing yourself back to the middle. When you feel like you've found your sweet spot for today, you can start to hinge at the hips and fold over the left leg. So when you start to fold, you might even notice that you need to shift a little bit. So that's okay. You might feel like you can't go as far on the left side, or that you can go even further on the left side. A little while longer here, so don't be afraid to play with taking it a little deeper. Finding a little bit more space as we continue to hold. last breath here. Start to lift yourself up just a couple of inches. Walk your hands towards the middle and a little bit over to the right. Maybe just about towards like the top of your right shin. You're not trying to go crazy far here. Walk your hands back to the middle and slowly, nice and slow, bring yourself all the way up. And extend both legs out. If it feels good to have a little movement here, go ahead and take that movement. Then just begin to cross the legs. And let's reach the arms all the way up to the sky. We're just gonna sit for a couple of more breaths. And let the right hand come towards the ground, right outside of your right hip, and just stretch and reach through the left side. Now you can keep the arm up, or you can always just kind of leave it down by the hip. Maybe you just let your hand rest on the hip. And slowly start to come all the way back up, and let's take that lean over to the other side. So again, your arm can be up overhead, or your hand can just gently rest on your hip or your rib cage. Just envisioning that you're trying to create a little bit of extra space through the side body. Slowly start to bring yourself up. And go ahead and make your way into a tabletop position. Just for a couple of moments as we transition. And you're welcome to invite some movement here. Maybe rock the hips a little bit. And start to come into a child's pose. So allow your hips to sink back on your heels. Let your forehead and torso come towards the ground. Yeah, and you can perfectly bring like a pillow or a blanket underneath your torso, underneath your head, or even slide a blanket behind the knees. As you begin to settle into this child's pose, your body is feeling like it's in pain, especially at the knees. Always come onto your back. And just hug the knees towards the chest. So it just is less pressure on the knees, but we're still getting that release through the lower back, which is what we're looking for here. feel your next breath. If you're moving in slow motion, slowly start to peel yourself up. You took the version on your back, just go ahead and extend the legs. And you'll start to turn yourself all the way around, taking whatever you need on the way and come all the way onto your back. So feel free to come back to that tabletop and move around a little bit, or come back to a seated and move around a little bit. But we'll start to lay all the way onto our backs. And then when you first arrive on your back, just take a few moments to adjust to this new perspective. And just allow the legs to start to lengthen out in front of you. And you can take them a little wide. And you can start to bring the arms up into like a Y shape. So creating a starfish with your body. You've been in lots of folds today. Let's just take a few moments in this starfish pose to open up those parts of the body we've been folding into. If there's pressure in the low back that's really uncomfortable or painful, you can always slide some props underneath the thighs that will actually help take some of that natural curve out of the lower back. You are more than welcome to stay as a starfish. And be a starfish in your Shavasana today. Or you can let your arms just come by your side. And I always offer the option too that if staying on your back for too long is really uncomfortable, like can create a little bit more pain when you leave class, then openness. Feel free to roll onto your side in a fetal position or slide your legs up something. So a chair, a couch, a wall. Just finding a place where your body can fully release and let go. In gratitude for your practice today. Shavasana. Starting to notice and feel your next breath. slowly starting to bring some awareness back into this space. Inviting small movements back in, wiggling fingers and toes, wrists and ankles, and rocking your head gently from side to side. And slowly starting to make your way onto your side. Then eventually making your way all the way up to seat, but there's no rush. Pausing where you need. When you do eventually make it to a comfortable seat, keeping the focus inside. Bringing your hands to your heart center. Just thanking yourself for making it to your mat today, for your practice, for your energy, for your breath, and most importantly, for yourself. Namaste.
Hi, everyone. This is Z from Yonkers Public Library. Thanks so much to Sally Pinto and Alexis from Newark. Thank you to our community partners, WJCS, the City of Yonkers Office for the Aging, Friends of Crestwood Library, and Yonkers Public Library for making this phenomenal partnership. And we thank each and every one of you for being part of our wellness community. Be well, stay well.